Hi everyone. Today we have Emily who will help us improve our English language skills. Who's Emily, you might ask? Well, she is the main character in the short story which we are going to read in this video. The story is called An Unwritten Journey and we're going to learn a combination of English language skills. This video is divided into 3 segments, all of which are linked to each other. In the first segment, we'll focus on listening for the main idea. Here, you listen to me reading out the whole story at natural pace. You're supposed to extract the gist of the story and just answer one simple question. This would then prepare us for the second segment where we focus on something else. We focus on reading for details, vocabulary, and grammar. This is where we read the same story, but we do it in small chunks. After every paragraph, we analyze high-level words, phrasal verbs, idioms, and grammar. You also have a chance to connect with the story by reflecting on some questions. This helps us relate our own personal experiences to the situations in the story. This technique is known to have a higher recall and application value. The third and final segment is where we do speaking practice. We take a conversation dialogue related to the story, and then you and I play our respective roles. We take turns playing different roles. That way, we can develop speaking fluency and confidence. Just one more thing. Lesson notes for this video will be available in PDF format to download, and it's absolutely free. So please watch the whole video and let's have a rocking list together. Are you ready? Are you ready for reading one? Let's give it a shot. Before I read, I want you to guess the answer to this question. Does Emily end up working in a law firm? What do you think is the answer? Guess. Obviously, you don't know 100% what the answer is, but what do you feel? When I read the story for the first time, I want you to target this question. Look for the answer to this question. That's the gist of the story. Okay? All the best. Here we go. Once upon a time, in the quaint town of Willow Creek, Emily Mitchell's life was meticulously planned. She was going to follow in her family's footsteps and become a successful lawyer. Her days were filled with law books, court visits, and the anticipation of a promising legal career. However, life had other plans for her. One fateful day, as Emily was preparing to crack an interview at a prestigious law firm, she received a phone call that would alter the course of her life. Her aging grandmother, whom she adored, had fallen seriously ill. Emily's heart sank as she listened to the doctor's prognosis. The responsibilities of caring for her grandmother were thrust upon her, and suddenly the rigid plans she had meticulously crafted for her future were called into question. The initial shock of the situation left Emily torn between her aspirations and her family duty. She was going to decline the full-time position, a decision that would undoubtedly impact her legal career. The firm had been her ticket to success, and now it seemed like a distant dream. However, Emily's love for her grandmother was unwavering, and she knew that her priorities had shifted. As days turned into weeks, Emily found herself immersed in the role of a caregiver. The legal world she had envisioned was replaced by hospital visits, medication schedules, and heartfelt conversations with her grandmother. Emily's world, once defined by courtrooms and legal jargon, was now centered around the intimate moments she spent with her family. In the midst of this unexpected change, Emily discovered a newfound passion for writing. She would document her grandmother's stories, capturing the wisdom and experiences that spanned generations. What was initially a coping mechanism became a creative outlet, and Emily realized that her journey had taken an unexpected turn for the better. Emily's not being able to get into the law firm, once a source of disappointment, now seemed like a blessing in disguise. She would have missed out on the profound moments she shared with her grandmother, the stories that shaped her perspective on life. Instead of the rigid career path she was going to pursue, Emily found herself on a different, more fulfilling journey, one filled with love, family, and the joy of discovering one's true calling. As Emily reflected on the twists and turns that led her to this moment, she realized that life's detours had a way of steering her towards a destination she didn't even know she was meant to reach. The plans she had were replaced with a richer, more meaningful existence, and she wouldn't have it any other way. The uncertainty of the future became an adventure, and Emily embraced the beauty of a life that would unfold in ways she could have never imagined. That's the end of round one. Okay. I hope you got the answer to the question. Did Emily end up working in a law firm? I'm 100% sure you know the answer. The answer is no. She wanted to, she was going to, she had planned everything in order to become a lawyer, follow her family's footsteps, but she didn't. She changed the course of her life because of an event, and that event was to do with her grandmother. Is that clear? Good. Hope you're all ready for the second reading. This is going to be more broken down because after each paragraph, I'm going to stop and explain vocabulary, including expressions, idioms, and also grammatical structures. This way, we'll be able to understand the entire story, the vocabulary, grammar in small chunks, which will be easier to recall and remember for a long time. And after each paragraph, I'll also ask you some reflective questions, which will give you a chance to think and connect your life with the life of the characters and the situations of the story. Okay, are you ready for that? I hope you are. So here we go. An Unwritten Journey, Reading 2. Once upon a time, in the quaint town of Willow Creek, Emily Mitchell's life was meticulously planned. She was going to follow in her family's footsteps and become a successful lawyer. Her days were filled with law books, court visits, and the anticipation of a promising legal career. However, life had other plans for her. That's the paragraph we're going to focus on. So let's look at the vocabulary first. I'm going to highlight every good expression, high level idiom or word, and then we will look at the meaning of all of that. The first word is quaint. Try to say the word with me. Quaint. It's not quant, it's not quaint, it's quaint. Focus on the vowel sound. Ain't, quaint. It rhymes with paint. Okay, we'll look at the meaning in a while. The second expression is something that uses an adverb. Meticulously planned. Meticulously planned. Focus on the pronunciation of the adverb meticulously. The stress is on lus, the sound before ly. Meticulously, meticulously planned, meticulously planned. So lus is where the stress is. I also want you to remember this grammatical structure. It is a very handy structure which will allow you to tell vibrant stories, share your experiences in the past with other people, was going to, were going to. It's a lovely grammatical structure for storytelling and to talk about past intentions, past arrangements. The other idiom is follow in someone's footsteps. Amazing expression, to follow in someone's footsteps. I hope you already know the meaning a little bit at least, but we'll look at detailed meaning in a little while. Okay? Everything else is fine. So we're going to focus on these things first. Okay? The meaning of the adjective quaint is a place which is old-fashioned but charming, attractive. It's not modern, it's not urban, it's something which has a lot of heritage, and because of that, it is charming, it is attractive. People like it, right? It's not very busy, it's not a metropolis, it's a quaint town, an old-fashioned town, but attractive. Okay, so let's look at the meaning of quaint. Something that is old-fashioned We usually use it for places, old-fashioned, but attractive, charming, right? It pulls people towards it because of some of the heritage structures that it has. Quaint, remember, rhymes with paint. It has the same middle vowel, ain't, quaint. Good. Meticulously planned. Meticulously comes from the word meticulous. Somebody who is meticulous plans every little detail, is precise about that plan. So when somebody plans meticulously, they are taking care of obviously considering all the little details, right? So this is meticulously planned is something that is carefully planned with all the details, considering all the details. So in this case, what are we talking about? We are talking about Emily Mitchell's life. Her life was meticulously planned. Every detail was considered. Everything was arranged, right? She wanted to follow in her family's footsteps. That is what it was, okay? We will come back to was going to, were going to. First, let's us understand the idiom follow in somebody's footsteps. When you follow in somebody's footsteps, what are you doing essentially? You are trying to pursue the same line of profession, career that your family members have been successfully into. So in this case, we can deduce or infer that Emily Mitchell's family is a family of lawyers. They're all successful in the field of law. She also wanted to follow in her family's footsteps. So, what do you mean by that idiom? You mean we are talking about something. This means to pursue or follow a profession which 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 is the same as some of the family members, usually parents. Usually parents. Okay, so follow in someone's footsteps. You can replace this expression with any person, group as such. To follow in Sachin Tendulkar's footsteps, to follow in Bill Gates's footsteps. But remember the apostrophe at the end. Okay, you have to show possession of that person or group. To follow in your father's footsteps, your siblings' footsteps, and so on and so forth. Is that clear? Good. Now we are going to focus on was going to. So as I mentioned, was going to, were going to is used to talk about intention, plan, arrangement that somebody had in the past. If you take your life 10 years back, you might have had some arrangements, some plans during that point in time. So you could say something like, I was going to take medicine as a career. I was going to become a sportsman. They were going to move to the US. Okay? So we always use this grammatical structure to talk about any future plan or arrangement that we had made in the past. It's a little tricky, okay? Future plan or arrangement that we had made in the past. Don't worry, all of you will have the PDFs with all its annotations, glossary, vocabulary, meanings, and grammatical points to download for free. Just look at the description and you'll be able to do that yourself. So I hope that is clear, everyone. Good, nice. Are you ready for the questions that will help you connect with this part of the story? Here are the questions. Think about it. And if you want, I'll be really happy if you can put your answers, your responses in the comments box. Please do that. Okay. Question 1. Like Emily, Was your life meticulously planned, or did you improvise? Did you just play it by the ear, react to certain situations in your life? So there are two aspects. One, where you have a detailed plan, arrangement of what to do. Second, you don't have a detailed plan, you're flexible, adaptable to whatever comes your way. In your case, what was the story like? Please drop your responses in the comments if you're willing to. Second question, how much of an influence did family have on your key decisions? For most of us, key decisions include what line of study, education, academics to pursue, what career to get into, and whom to marry. Okay, so these are key decisions. There are also other decisions, of course, but for most of us, these are key decisions. So, did family have a lot of influence? Some influence, no influence? That tells about the philosophy that you follow in life. So, are you individualistic, or do you work well with other members of the group, family, and so on? And the last question, do you think Emily will pursue law as a career, or will she change tracks? Now, you should already have the answer to this question, because this is the second time that you were reading the story. You already have the gist of the story, right? But if not law, what do you think Emily is going to pursue? So, responses in the comments box, and then we will move to second paragraph. This is paragraph 2. Ready? Here we go. One fateful day, as Emily was preparing to crack an interview at a prestigious law firm, she received a phone call that would alter the course of her life. Her aging grandmother, whom she adored, had fallen seriously ill. Emily's heart sank as she listened to the doctor's prognosis. The responsibilities of caring for her grandmother were thrust upon her, and suddenly the rigid plans she had meticulously crafted for her future were called into question. So, some fantastic vocabulary here that will help our language. The first expression is to alter the course of someone's life. To alter the course of someone's life, right? Second, to adore. Here's a simple past tense of to adore, adored. Okay. Somebody's heart sank. It's a simple past. In the present, we would say heart sinks, heart sank, right? Prognosis, prognosis. Okay. Thrust upon somebody, thrust upon somebody. And then the last idiom is something is called into question. Something is called into question. So, some amazing vocabulary. Let's look at the first one, to alter the course of somebody's life. To alter the course of somebody's life. In this case, there was a phone call which would alter the course of her life. So at that point in the past, she got a call, and that call was a deciding factor. The call was a life-changing moment. That means alter the course of one's life. Right? So if you had to give a meaning to this expression, it would be something like to change the direction of one's life. That is how we would say it. To change the direction of one's life. Received a phone call that would change the direction of her life. A life-changing moment, right? Deciding factor, deciding moment. To adore is to love with respect. So there is a little bit of love along with respect. That's the difference between to love, to have feelings, and to have respect and feelings together. So when we adore someone, we really look up to that person. We respect and we love the way that person leads his or her life. So to love and regard that person. To love and regard that person. You really use this word with people who are role models, inspiration. You look up to them, you adore them, you have really high regard for them, for everything they do, and you feel for them. Okay, so you feel a sense of attachment as well. Heart sank. Heart sank means it's a metaphorical way of saying to feel extreme sadness. To feel extreme sadness. Emily's heart sank. Emily felt extreme sadness as she listened to the doctor's prognosis. Okay? So, heart sink, heart sank. That's the way. Sank is an irregular verb. The present form will be to sink, past will be sank, and past participle, which is V3, verb 3, would be sunk. Is that clear? So remember that irregular verbs really pose challenges, especially to intermediate or upper intermediate learners as well. So remember that very well. We have an interesting noun here, and that is prognosis. Rhymes with diagnosis. Okay. So look at the stress. Prognosis. It's a 3-syllable word. The stress is on the middle syllable. Doctor's prognosis. Diagnosis. Okay. So what are we stressing? We are basically stressing the syllable before sis. Gnosis, prognosis. If you stress the first syllable, it will sound unnatural. Remember that very well. Okay. What do you mean by prognosis? Prognosis is nothing but a prediction of a likely result. A prediction of a likely result. So in this case, we have the doctor predicting a likely result after checking Emily's grandmother. The doctor might have seen certain symptoms, might have seen the report, and then he made a prediction of, okay, what might she have? It's a prediction of a likely result. That's prognosis. Is that clear? So when you have a first impression of a certain problem, a certain issue, that is prognosis. When you do an in-depth study, investigate it further with all the evidence facts, that would then turn into diagnosis. Okay, remember that very well. So it's a likely result. It's not a certain outcome, a likely result. There is still some chance of it being inaccurate, some chance. That is why the word likely. Okay. Now, when we thrust something upon someone, in this case, the responsibilities of caring for her grandmother were thrust upon Emily. So we use the expression thrust upon somebody to talk about enforce relationships. Okay. You force certain duties on someone. Thrust upon is that person does not have a choice. So if somebody thrusts upon me the duty of taking care of a small child, I don't have a choice to say no, I have to do it. Right? It's enforcement. It's not a choice. So remember that very well. The last expression, something is called into question. Something is called into question. In this case, Emily's meticulous plans that she had for her future, becoming a lawyer, joining a law firm, following family's footsteps, and so on, were called into question. So when something is called into question, that means something is uncertain or doubtful, right? Something is uncertain or there are doubts surrounding that something. Before this incident happened, before grandmother fell seriously ill, Emily's plan was arranged. It was not called into question. There was nothing uncertain or doubtful about it. But after she fell ill, everything that she had planned was called into question. Her plans, her arrangements, her intentions of becoming a lawyer were all uncertain now, doubtful. Is that clear? I hope you are. Okay. Now we have a chance to connect with the story. How would you react if faced with a sudden change in your life plans? In this story, there was an event which changed everything suddenly. How would you react if something similar happened in your life? The second question, have you ever had to prioritize family responsibilities over personal ambitions? You personally had a plan, intention of doing something. Did you ever had to change it? When was that time? Try to remember. Yeah? Were your plans anytime called into question? Okay. Number 3, do you believe that life's unexpected challenges can sometimes lead to positive personal growth and discoveries? Whenever you come across something that feels challenging, uncertain, initially you feel anxious about it, and then you try to solve it step by step, and then you feel as if you've really achieved something. You feel like you've grown, you've had a lot of experiences. Has it happened with your life? Of course, I don't have to tell you this, you already know the drill. Please put your responses in the chat box. I'll be glad to read your responses. See, personalizing a story or personalizing a language is the best way to remember the vocabulary and the grammar for a very long time. Just one simple step, personalize it. Try to connect with the character and the situation. Try to put yourself. What would you have done? Would you have done the same thing? Or would you have found a middle path? That's it. Okay? Good. So, are you ready for paragraph 3? I hope you are. Here we go. Here's the third paragraph. You ready? Here we go. The initial shock of the situation left Emily torn between her aspirations and her family duty. She was going to decline the full-time position, a decision that would undoubtedly impact her legal career. The firm had been her ticket to success, and now it seemed like a distant dream. However, Emily's love for her grandmother was unwavering, and she knew that her priorities had shifted. So, what words, expressions, idioms are we going to focus? There's a lovely idiom, to be torn between A and B. To be torn between A and B. Okay, try to deduce, infer the meaning from the paragraph. What do you think it means? She was going to decline the full-time position. We have already seen this grammatical structure, was going to, were going to, and now we have the same structure repeated, but the idea changes. So, I'll mark that in green, signaling that it's grammar and not vocabulary. Okay. Now, if something is a ticket to success, what do you think that means? If something is my ticket to success, your ticket to success, somebody else's ticket to success, what's that expression mean? Okay, unwavering. In this case, we are using the adjective unwavering to describe Emily's love for her grandmother. So, what do you think unwavering means? Okay. By the way, the most difficult word to pronounce amongst these 4 highlighted words is unwavering. Where do you think the stress is? Unwavering. Unwavering. It's the first syllable. Unwavering love. Unwavering. It's the first syllable. Okay? The first syllable. Unwavering. That's what it is. Got it. So, when you are torn between A and B, you're basically in a confused state of mind. There are 2 options, and it is not easy to choose either one of them because both seem to be important. In this case, we have Emily's aspirations, her dreams on the one hand, and her duty, responsibility towards her grandmother, family. Okay? So both are difficult choices. It's not an easy option to choose. Hence, she was confused. She did not know what to choose, what not to choose. That's what this means. To be torn between A and B is to be in a confused state of mind. Because all options are important and it is difficult to just choose one, as in this case. Okay? You're basically conflicted. Should I go with A? Should I go with B? A is also important, B is also important. So I am torn between A and B. Neither of the choices are easy. Okay? Both will have serious consequences. If I go with A, I have a serious consequence. If I go with B, also there are serious consequences. And all of us, we have at least 2 or 3 moments like this in our life where we have difficult choices to make. So you're navigating those choices in a very delicate manner, considering all the outcomes and possibilities. That's what you mean by tone between A and B. Okay. Was going to, we have already explained that, so we'll not repeat that, but just understand the context in which this is used. She was going to decline the full-time position, a decision that would impact her life, impact her profession, career. Okay. Ticket to success means an important step, an important first step towards something. Okay. Towards something, and that something is usually your goal. It may be personal goal, professional goal, anything, but you're taking that important first step towards something. That means it is going to be ticket to success. Whose ticket to success? Your ticket to success, or whoever the character is. So that's what we mean by ticket to success. In this case, that job in a legal firm was Emily's ticket to success. If you have never worked earlier and you take an internship with a company, it may be a paid internship or an unpaid internship, but that is an important step. That is your ticket to success, because it's a highly competitive field. There are too many applicants and not all of them get this chance, this opportunity to do internship. If you get it, that is your ticket to success. Okay, amazing. Unwavering. Unwavering is something which doesn't weaken, okay, whatever the circumstances. That is what we would call unwavering. Wavering means something that keeps on shifting. Okay, if it is unwavering, it will be constant, it will not weaken. If the circumstances are not good, okay, you have a lot of sad situations to deal with. People who really love you, their love towards you will be unwavering, whether it's a good situation or a bad situation. And in this case, we are talking about Emily's love for her grandmother. It was unwavering. She wasn't willing to compromise anything to do with taking care of her grandmother. Hence, it was unwavering. Something that would not weaken just because she became ill. Whether she was healthy or she became ill, her love was the same. It was not something that could weaken. Unwavering love. Okay. So we use this with a lot of positive abstract nouns like unwavering love, unwavering respect, unwavering support. Okay. So remember that. It's an adjective. It's a very good adjective. Handy adjective to use with a lot of things. Are we absolutely clear? To be torn between A and B. Somebody's ticket to success. Unwavering love, unwavering support, unwavering respect. So that's the end of paragraph 3. Now is the time for some reflective questions. So let's connect with the story. Question number 1. When faced with a difficult choice, who is that one person you confide in, you discuss your problems with? What makes him or her special? Okay. Question number 2. Reflect on a time when you had to make a sacrifice for someone you care about. What did you learn from that experience? Similar to Emily. Emily sacrificed her career for her grandmother. Last question. In Emily's situation, do you think choosing family over career was the right decision? If it was right, why do you feel it is right? If you feel otherwise, why do you think it was wrong? Think, and you know the drill. Put your responses in the comments box and I'll be happy to read and reply to those comments. Don't forget to do that, okay? Yeah. Time for moving on to the 4th paragraph. You ready? So here's paragraph 4. Hope you're ready. As days turned into weeks, Emily found herself immersed in the role of a caregiver. The legal world she had envisioned was replaced by hospital visits, medication schedules, and heartfelt conversations with her grandmother. Emily's world, once defined by courtrooms and legal jargon, was now centered around intimate moments she spent with her family. Right. So, we specifically don't have any idioms or high level words in this paragraph, which happens a lot, but we do have some good signposting expressions. For example, whenever you give a short speech or a long one, you always use time expressions. You have to talk about passage of time, right? How the events are sequenced. So here we have a wonderful expression that helps you do that. I'm again going to mark this in green because it's grammar. It is a signposting expression. It's not specifically vocabulary as such. So you could say something like, as days turned into weeks, means after a sufficiently long period of time, right? As days turned into weeks. So what are similar expressions that we can use to talk about passage of time? 2 years later, 6 months later, okay, on her next birthday. Got it? Because all of these expressions are what we call time expressions. They give you a sense of how the time passed. So we're going to write here expression showing the passage of time. Okay. A lot of other expressions can also be used, but you will find this expression a lot in personal narratives, short speeches, stories, and so on. Okay. Now, do you know what this word means? Envisioned. Envisioned. Okay. When you envision something, you are trying to imagine something before it happens. So you're trying to run that movie, that visual in your mind. Envision, right? And here we have an amazing prefix, en. Okay, en means to support. Encourage means to support somebody. Envision means to support your visual, your thoughts. You're trying to run that in your mind. The synonym of envision would be, you can use a word like imagine. Okay, when you envision something, you imagine something, or you try to foresee it, see something before it happens. People who plan for a sufficiently long period of time, like leaders of nations, they envision a future which is bright. They imagine something which is better than what the current state of affairs is. And that is what we mean envision. It's a verb. In this case, we have the past perfect form of the verb, had envisioned, right? So that's what this is all about. What else do we have? This is also a nice structure. And this is also a grammatical structure. Something once defined by X was now Y. So here we are talking about contrast. You had planned for X, but now what you really see in front of you is Y. Okay, Emily's world once defined by X, everything to do with a job of a lawyer, was now centered around everything to do with taking care of a family member, right? So this is an amazing way to tell what you had planned and what actually happened later. Once defined by X was now Y. Got it? And I think that's it in this paragraph. We don't have much to discuss, but handy expression talking about passage of time, and another expression or structure which you can use to draw contrast between A and B, between something that was imagined and something that really happened. That is what we can use. Okay, so we'll just talk about to draw contrast between something that we imagined and something that actually happened. Is that clear? That's what we have here. That is where we use this structure. Are we clear about it? We hope so. So I hope you're ready about the questions to reflect. Connect with the story. Question number 1. Do you know anyone whose daily routine has drastically changed? Pay attention to the word drastically. Drastically means to a larger extent, not minor changes, big changes. Do you know a person whose routine has drastically changed? Okay. Next question. What advice would you offer to that person to help them adapt to the new situation, to the new circumstances? What would be your advice to that person? Because suddenly life has changed. It's a big change, not a small one. So, what would you say to that person to help him or her adapt? You know the drill? Put your responses in the comments, and then, we have an enriching discussion, personalizing the story. That's how we remember the story. It's very, very important to do that every time. Okay, time for the next paragraph. I hope you're ready. Here's another paragraph. Hope you're ready. In the midst of this unexpected change, Emily discovered a newfound passion for writing. She would document her grandmother's stories, capturing the wisdom and experiences that spanned generations. What was initially a coping mechanism became a creative outlet, and Emily realized that her journey had taken an unexpected turn for the better. So, we have some interesting phrases and expressions here. First of all, we have a very formal phrase, in the midst of. That means in the middle of. In the middle of. Okay. When you have a newfound passion, interesting collocation, something which is a newfound passion is something that you have recently discovered. And usually that happens by chance, not because you've planned for it, but because it has simply fallen into your lap due to fate. That's what we call a newfound passion. Okay, something that initially wasn't your interest, but now you have grown to like it. That's a newfound passion. Okay. Then we have a long phrase, to take an unexpected turn for the better. If something takes an unexpected turn for the better, that means it improves. In this case, Emily's personal life, her personal journey had taken an unexpected turn for the better. It improved, even though she never felt she would like it, but she started liking it. It turned out to be better than her initial plan, which was to become lawyers, work in courtrooms, and so on and so forth. Is that clear? So we have some good vocabulary here. In the midst of is a very formal way of saying in the middle. In the middle of. In the middle of. Newfound passion, something, an activity that someone has recently discovered, and that is also just by chance, just by fate, luck. Okay? Newfound passion. Got it? To take an unexpected turn for the better means to improve, to be in a better condition than before. To be in a better condition than before. So if my profession takes an unexpected turn for the better, my profession improves. I get more opportunities. But it can also be the opposite. It can also take a turn for the worse. Right? It can also become less favorable than what it was before. That is what we have to understand. So something takes a turn for the better means it improves, and something takes turn for the worse. Remember, there is an article before the comparative adjective. It will not be to take a turn for better, for the better, for worse, for the worse. Okay, so article is important just because of grammar. Why? Just rules of English, that's it. Okay, got it. I hope that is clear. In the midst of a newfound passion, to take an unexpected turn for the better, to take an unexpected turn for the worse. So, if something is going and then it turns, it can turn towards something better or worse. In this case, it has turned for the better. So, Emily's life's turned for the better, not for the worse. Now we'll have the chance to connect with the story. Think about these questions, try to personalize it. Can you recall a time when an unexpected change led you to discover a new passion, new interest? You know the phrase for it, a newfound passion. Something which you never planned, but it happened and you started liking it. And then you continue doing it again and again. Okay? Next question. Do you think some people are more inclined to turn challenges into opportunities than others? According to you, is everyone smart enough to turn opportunities or challenges into opportunities rather? Or is it specific to some sort of people? Okay, so for the people who you feel turn challenge into opportunity, what are three attributes that make these people different from other people who are not able to turn challenges into opportunities? Think about it. I hope you're with me. Okay, so we'll now move on to the next paragraph. See you there. Okay, hope you're ready. Here's the next paragraph. Emily's not being able to get into the law firm, once a source of disappointment, now seemed like a blessing in disguise. She would have missed out on the profound moments she shared with her grandmother, the stories that shaped her perspective on life. Instead of the rigid career path she was going to pursue, Emily found herself on a different, more fulfilling journey, one filled with love, family, and the joy of discovering one's true calling. Okay, so we don't have many expressions here, but the ones we have are amazing. Okay, they'll certainly help you sound more fluent and advanced. Let's look at those expressions. The first one is to be a blessing in disguise. To be a blessing in disguise. Okay. The second one is right at the end, to discover one's true calling. Okay, one's true calling. Now, once is referring to the person, but the actual expression is true calling. What do you mean by true calling of a person? Okay, so when something is a blessing in disguise, it means that initially it feels disappointing to get into that situation, but later it turns out to be pleasant. It turns out to be beneficial. So initially it seems disappointing, and then it is not as disappointing as it once sounded. In fact, it is much better. It's much more pleasant, much more beneficial. That is what we call a blessing in disguise. Okay? Let me give you an example. Let's say that I wanted to get into medicine and become a doctor, right? But because of certain circumstances, probably because of low marks or less grade, I was not able to get a seat in medicine. And then I had to switch to pharmaceuticals. Okay, it's a closely related field, but not the same one. I wanted to become a doctor. I had to settle for pharmacy. Initially, I thought getting into pharmaceuticals would be disappointing. It wouldn't be as pleasing as medicine, which was my first choice. But later on, okay, as I completed the first year, second year, third year, it turned out to be much more beneficial and aligned with my skills. So it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. That's what it means. I hope that's clear, everyone. Always helps to remember these expressions and use it. If you don't use it, if you don't personalize it, you're going to forget as early as possible. And that's not something that we want, especially when you are moving from the upper intermediate to the advanced or proficient level, from B2 to C1 and C2. That's very, very important to develop the sense of how these words and expressions are used. Okay? So blessing in disguise is something that seems to be disappointing at first, but it turns out to be more pleasant. It turns out to be pleasant. Or even in certain situations, better than the original choice or what you had imagined. That's a blessing in disguise. Okay? True calling. What do you feel is the meaning of true calling? Something that is a true calling is a line of profession or vocation that you are strongly attracted to, and that usually involves helping other people. You get that inner fulfillment. You feel meaningful when you do such things. That is your true calling. So let's say if you're a programmer and you've been working in an IT company for about 10 to 15 years, and you've started feeling mechanical about your routine tasks. You feel there's not much personal growth, even though there are a lot of chances to grow professionally on more money. But you feel that, if only I could help other people. And then you move to be a teaching volunteer. On the weekends, you start teaching other people. And then you finally realize, you know what, teaching is my true calling. Why didn't I realize that before? Okay, so then you become a teacher who teaches other people about programming and your IT skills. So your true calling was teaching. You were strongly attracted to that, and it also involved helping other people. So it makes your life meaningful than what it was before. That's the true calling. Okay, so I'm going to say a profession or a vocation that you are strongly attracted to, and this usually involves helping other people. So this is true calling. Is that clear? I hope that is. Now we have a chance to connect with this part of the story. Question 1. Which key event or events in your life have led you to your true calling? There are certain times, certain moments when you are pulled strongly towards your true calling, and then you just give up things you were doing and you move into activities related to your true calling. So what were the events in your life that led you to your true calling, that made you feel, yes, this is my space, I'll really be satisfied, I'll find meaning, it'll be hugely rewarding to work in this space? What is the event or events that led you to your true calling? Think of 3 things or events that you didn't plan for but gave you immense joy. You didn't plan for it, but they gave you immense joy. Blessing in disguise. Yeah. What, according to you, leads to true fulfillment in life? There's no one thing, but there's a combination. So, what's that combination for you? How do you find fulfillment in life? What's the mix, the combination for you? For everybody, it's going to be different. Is that clear? Okay, so we will now look at the last paragraph. Finally, we have reached the last paragraph where the story culminates, and here we go. As Emily reflected on the twists and turns that led her to this moment, she realized that life's detours had a way of steering her towards a destination she didn't even know she was meant to reach. The plans she had were replaced with a richer, more meaningful existence, and she wouldn't have it any other way. The uncertainty of the future became an adventure, and Emily embraced the beauty of a life that would unfold in ways she could have never imagined. Interesting. Okay. So, the very first expression that you already might have guessed, the twists and turns. This is the other way of saying the ups and downs. We are talking about Emily's life and the life's ups and downs, the twists and turns, everything, the good and the bad that led her to this very moment. Okay, that's. The second word is detour. Detour. In this part, we have it in plural, detours. Okay. What else? She wouldn't have it any other way. That's an interesting phrase. Many native speakers use this naturally when they are referring to their past or decisions they made about them in the past. Okay? I wouldn't have it any other way. She wouldn't have it any other way. They wouldn't have it any other way. So we'll find out what it means. And embraced. So what do you mean by embraced? Amazing vocabulary. The twists and turns, the ups and downs. The ups and downs, the good and the bad. So we are not only talking about the positive aspects, we're also talking about the negative aspects, right? Everything, positive, negative, neutral, that has led her to this moment. The twists and turns. Detour, plural detours. It's a noun which means to take a roundabout route. To reach a destination. Let's say you are currently at A, you want to reach B. There are two ways to get to B. One, you have a straightforward route, and the other, you have a roundabout route. So from A, you go to C, from C, you go to B, and finally you come to A. The second is what we call a detour, something which is not a straightforward route, but a roundabout way of reaching a particular place, in this case, A to B. That clear? Okay. Now, whenever we use, I wouldn't have it any other way, she wouldn't have it any other way, they wouldn't have it any other way, okay? We are talking about having no regrets. Having no regrets or disappointments with one's life choices or life decisions. When a person feels zero regret, no disappointment, even though the decision that he or she has taken will have had a lot of negatives, challenges, hard times, still they would say something like, I wouldn't have it any other way. I have no regrets. I have enjoyed the journey. All the good, all the bad, all the positive, all the challenging aspects, I've enjoyed it thoroughly. I wouldn't have it any other way. Is that clear? That's what it means. It's a wonderful expression that shows that you're fluent and you are at a level which is more than upper intermediate. To embrace something, this is the past form of to embrace. Emily embraces, Emily embraced. So what do you mean by to embrace? To embrace means to accept something, or a situation. Let's say to accept a situation, okay, without feeling disappointed or sad. I'll give you a comparison of person A and person B in order to drill the meaning of this word. Let's say you have person A. Person A wants to get into law, and finally one of his family members falls ill. So he is not able to pursue his personal ambition. He has to now look after that family member. Person A feels disappointed, dejected, sad, beats himself up because he was not able to pursue his personal ambition. Person A did not embrace the situation. He felt disappointed with the situation. Compare that with person B. Person B wanted to get into law, but her family member fell ill. Despite this, she never felt any sense of disappointment. She took the change in situation, she welcomed it, she gave her best to take care of the family, she embraced a new situation. She found a meaning in that new situation. That is what we mean to embrace. By the way, we also use the word embrace when we hug somebody. But here we are using it metaphorically to embrace a new situation. Even though we did not plan for that situation, but we are still embracing it and we are giving our best. There's no feeling of disappointment, hurt, and so on. Is that clear? So that's that. Remember the twists and turns, detours. I wouldn't have it any other way. In this case, Emily wouldn't have it any other way. She's not really feeling disappointed. She has embraced a new situation and she's not feeling regretful about not pursuing law and all of that. Thanks. Okay, so that's that. Now, the last chance to connect with the story. Can you think of three people close to you who view uncertainty as a source of anxiety? If a new situation comes up, they feel anxious. Okay? It starts a cascade of negative feelings. Think about three people in your life who react this way to new situations. The next question is the opposite. Think of three people close to you who view uncertainty as a source of adventure. They like to embrace new situations. They are not holding on tight to their plans. The plans are not set in stone, they are flexible. They view new things as a source of adventure. They give their best. Which group would you wish to belong to? Would you like to belong to the group of people who view uncertainty as a source of anxiety? Or would you like to belong to a group of people who view uncertainty as a source of adventure? Okay? Which one do you feel you can belong to very closely? In the comments box, please. Remember, so that's a complete analysis of the story. This was second reading, by the way. The first reading had no pauses. Second reading, after each paragraph, we analyze the vocabulary, the grammar, and all of it. And remember, you can download the PDF with all its annotations, lesson notes, grammar points, explanations by clicking the link in the description. Okay, and it's for free. You don't have to fill a form or anything like that. It's completely free. Now that Emily has helped us learn useful vocabulary and grammar via the short story, it is high time we do speaking practice. This is how the speaking practice is going to work. I have prepared a dialogue related to the short story we just read. The dialogue takes place between two people, Emily and her friend Sarah. Emily sits on the couch. She is deep in thought. Her close friend Sarah joins her with a concerned expression. All lines will appear on the screen along with the marks indicating short pauses and long pauses. There are three rounds to this activity. In the first round, I'm going to let you get used to the dialogue. Here you will listen to me playing both Emily's role and Sarah's role turn by turn. After that, we go into the second round where I'm going to play Sarah's role and you'll play Emily's role. For every line that I speak, you respond with Emily's lines. Then for the final round, we switch roles. I play Emily, you play Sarah. This means you will start and I will follow you. Remember to pay attention to the lines on the screen and speak as if you're having a real conversation. Look at the pause marks. Every single slash means it's a short pause of about half a second, and a double slash means it's a longer pause of about 1 second. Are you ready for this? It's really going to help your speaking fluency. So let's get into it. Yeah? Hey Em, you seem a bit distant lately. Is everything okay? It's just been a whirlwind, Sarah. You remember how I was going to dive into that law internship, right? Of course, it was the opportunity you'd been working towards for so long. What happened? Life happened. My grandmother fell seriously ill, and suddenly I was torn between pursuing my career and taking care of her. I had no idea. That's a tough situation. What did you decide? Well, I was going to take that internship, but I chose to stay and take care of my grandmother instead. It was a tough call, but family comes first. Absolutely, Anne. But what about your plans, your dreams? Funny thing is, while I was going to be a hotshot lawyer, life had other plans. I started documenting my grandmother's stories, and it turns out I've discovered a love for writing. It's like I found a new path within the detour. That's quite a twist. So, you'd say this unexpected turn has been a blessing in disguise? Exactly. It's challenged my perception of success and happiness. Sometimes what we plan for ourselves isn't what we truly need. I've embraced the beauty of this unplanned journey, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm proud of you, Em. Life's twists and turns may be unexpected, but it seems like you're navigating them with grace. Thanks, Sarah. It's been a journey, that's for sure. Who knew detours could lead to such fulfillment? Hey Em, you seem a bit distant lately. Is everything okay? Of course. It was the opportunity you'd been working towards for so long. What happened? I had no idea. That's a tough situation. What did you decide? Absolutely, Em. But what about your plans, your dreams? That's quite a twist. So, you'd say this unexpected turn has been a blessing in disguise? I'm proud of you, Em. Life's twists and turns may be unexpected, but it seems like you're navigating them with grace. It's just been a whirlwind, Sarah. You remember how I was going to dive into that law internship, right? Life happened. My grandmother fell seriously ill, and suddenly I was torn between pursuing my career and taking care of her. Well, I was going to take that internship, but I chose to stay and take care of my grandmother instead. It was a tough call, but family comes first. Funny thing is, while I was going to be a hotshot lawyer, life had other plans. I started documenting my grandmother's stories, and it turns out I've discovered a love for writing. It's like I found a new path within the detour. Exactly. It's challenged my perception of success and happiness. Sometimes what we plan for ourselves isn't what we truly need. I've embraced the beauty of this unplanned journey, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Thanks, Sarah. It's been a journey, that's for sure. Who knew detours could lead to such fulfillment? That's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it and enhanced your English language skills in the process. I will see you soon with a new lesson, a new story, and new things to learn. Do take care and happy learning. Bye.